Hi, Union Symphony family. It's Deanna Tham again, music director of the Union Symphony, and I'm here today with David Strassberg, concertmaster of the Union Symphony, and Kate Middel, who is our principal violist of the Union Symphony. And we're here to talk about one of the concerts that's coming up in our virtual series this season with our Union Symphony String Quartet. And it is a really exciting program. Like, I was so excited to program this with you all, and I'm really excited to hear it because the music is amazing and it's so different but so relatable. I'm so excited for it. This concert is unique because we kind of go into all of classical music, both ends of the spectrum here, from Bach all the way to things like Amy Beach and Piazzolla, and just really show how all of that ties together and how Bach's music was so universal and is still being used and is still so relevant in any music that you hear today. And it's just really evocative, really expressive music. How was the experience for you guys, like rehearsing this and recording this, David?
Wow. Well, yeah, it's an honor and it's an honor to be here. Thank you so much. And it was wonderful to play with such great musicians and even better people. So, but yeah, chamber music. What do they say? It's the best music from the best composers. And yeah, everything does start with Bach. I mean, gosh, his grand architecture in all of his music, and his mathematical wizardry, but then also the beauty and of it all, and that it's really inspired, gosh, probably every composer since Bach, and always will.
So playing this concert in this way and rehearsing it in this way, Kate, like, did it speak to you, or was there anything that you found particularly special for you?
I found the entire experience actually special because primarily as an orchestral musician, we don't get these kind of opportunities very often to play in these smaller groups and really do these kind of very personal deep dives where we kind of have to find our own way and still kind of coordinate whatever way that is with the other people that you're working with. So it's a very kind of intensive and all-encompassing experience. And so the whole experience is just fantastically special. And I personally also love the direction or the breadth of the programming, that we were able to not just pick names that everybody knows. Everyone's heard of Bach and Mozart. And most people have probably heard of Piazzolla, even if they don't know his name, they've heard some of his tunes before. But to kind of spread that out and visit France and dig into some Debussy and some totally different kind of tone colors, and then come back over to the States and spend some time with a female composer who took Inuit melodies and wove those indigenous melodies into her music as well, to kind of go that wide and still bring all of that in together was just a wonderful experience.
I mean, Bach is a wonderful anchor for that, and I think that's why we conceptualized it that way. I noticed that you do have actually the composer you're speaking of behind you in photograph behind you there.
Yes, I do.
That's Amy Beach, right?
Yes, top center is Amy Beach, surrounded by 8 other composers who happen to also be women.
And like we mentioned, Amy Beach is on this program with an amazing string quartet. I mean, that should be performed more often, and still is rapidly becoming part of the string quartet canon, which is wonderful. And I mean, how is that for you, Kate? Like, what is your favorite part about that piece?
All of it. Because the first time I heard it, I absolutely fell in love. Couldn't understand why it wasn't played more often. It is an intense work, but because of its length, it's an entire quartet in one movement. So it's only 13 or 14 minutes or so, but you get to have this really complete set of ideas developed within all of that. Um, and you can hear the way she takes. I mentioned the indigenous Inuit melodies that she takes those from, but then she develops them with her Western classical music training, using harmonic language that we're used to hearing. And you can hear a lot of that with the Bach. It's set up in kind of an arching form. So there's a slow section at the beginning that comes back at the end that's very, very chromatic. And at first it seems very strange, but with the way that we did our programming, you hear similar lines in the Bach canon that we played as a duo, and you can kind of see exactly how she starts to combine her training plus the music that she was around, kind of just out and about in the world. And I think it's just fantastic when you get to kind of hear who a person is in their music. And I think we think of classical music as this thing that happens in the dark on a pedestal far away by faceless people dressed in black, and we kind of lose the personhood of the person who wrote it, of the people who play it. And I think when you can find those connections, it becomes something really special.
That's so great. And you mentioned, I mean, that she took these Inuit melodies and developed them, and you guys played a perfect example of that from way, like 300 years before this was written, in the Bach Art of Fugue, which is literally one segment of melody that he wrote, and then takes that theme and writes 14 different contrapuncti from it, right, in all of these different variations, augmentations, diminutions, inversions. Wow. And you guys compare that to the way that Beach develops these Inuit melodies, and you can see all these similarities. And people think of, might be a little bit intimidated by like a composer they don't know, especially one that's a little bit more closer to our time period. But if you listen to especially this canon that you guys perform in duet from the Bach, there are some really evocative chromatic harmonies in there, and really modern sounding harmonies that people are still emulating, and that's just so cool.
It is. The Bach, especially that canon, it's like a little time machine, but you never know where it's going to take you, because it could literally take you absolutely anywhere.
Because Bach could do that. He can take you anywhere. I mean, he was a genius. There's no
absolutely.
one like him. But,
right.
And then, David, you guys performed Debussy as well, taking Bach in that direction.
Right. Gosh. Wow. So many colors. I mean, I've always wanted to perform the Debussy Quartet. And I mean, actually, that in that third movement, that slow movement, is probably one of my favorite pieces in all chamber music repertoire. Both my parents are artists, so always being around art. But I mean, I just see all these colors and just what they say. Debussy, his music very ephemeral. Just really enjoying the moment, and gives us a whole range of colors on each instrument. The string quartet, it's a unified whole, but it's so amazing how each voice is important and contributes to it. But gosh, I mean, with there's a spot in the Debussy where I think Kate takes it, and then Oksana takes it, and then this kind of like this undercurrent of Amanda, the second violinist, have, and there's this amazing crescendo, and we all arrive together at these moments, and gosh, I mean, composers, I mean, they really are true artists.
I mean, I like that you mentioned all of the different voices of the string quartet. I mean, who better than Debussy to bring those colors out? He was the master of colors. You said your parents were artists. Like, I think they call it, it's an actual condition, they call it, I think it's synesthesia, where they actually see colors when they hear sounds, or they mix their senses. Absolutely. Right? And a lot of us don't have that. It's very rare. But with Debussy, you get close. You get close to seeing actual things, when you hear those sounds. And I'm so glad that you guys did Debussy with Bach, especially the Bach Art of Fugue, where his voice writing is so important. He has so many different voices that contradict with each other and are used and are so individual in different ways, and Debussy just takes a different take on the string quartet in that way, and making each voice an individual in a different way in its colors and its timbres. So that's just such an awesome comparison and such a great inspiration that Debussy took from Bach. And so you guys performed Mozart as well, right? As part of the Dissonance Quartet.
Yeah, and that piece, wow, what a landmark piece that is. I mean, it's kind of totally off the beaten path what you would expect from Mozart in the beginning, and then it flourishes into something that you would expect more with Mozart, But yeah, such an incredible melodist, and it's so deceptive. I mean, it sounds like it's just from heaven. I had a teacher once. He said that his teacher described Mozart as a vineyard on a volcano. I mean, you see this beautiful vineyard. Oh, but at any moment, wow, it could explode, and disaster could strike. So it's like it has to be like perfectly cultivated and all of these things, and then that's where the but yet it sounds so natural, and so that's the huge challenge I think with Mozart too. It sounds so simple, but yet it's very profound.
Yeah. So Kate, what do you hope that our audience takes away from this amazing program that you guys have put together?
I hope our audience takes away a feeling of approachableness, that music isn't just, you don't have to be a genius to understand this idea of classical music, that there really is something there for everybody, that it's just kind of like anything else. You might have a piece that's not your favorite, but you might discover something new by someone you've never heard of, and that could then lead you down a rabbit hole that just brightens every aspect of your life. And I hope if we can supply that doorway to a rabbit hole for somebody, that would just be amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, I totally agree. David, anything you hope the audience takes away from this program?
Come out and listen to some beautiful music. Of course, post-COVID, and when it's all safe to do so. But yes, and this is great. What a great opportunity, because people can listen to the in their homes and with families and friends, and it's really an honor to be able to share music with other people.
Listen to this in the comfort of your home. Hopefully it will become like Kate mentioned, accessible, like the soundtrack to your life. That's what classical music is. It's just the soundtrack of the human spirit, and maybe you'll find something that speaks to you, and hopefully you do. So this will be released on April 10th, I believe. So check us out on April 10th. Listen to this with your friends with a glass of wine on a volcano if you want. And it's gonna be great for
even better.
even better. And there's more information always on unionsymphony.org about this concert and our upcoming season, which we will be announcing soon, hopefully live and hopefully all together again. So thank you, Kate Middel and David Strassberg. We're so excited to hear you guys play, and
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much.